So, howdy everybody. This is Dwayne with Growing Together Nursery, and as promised, I'm gonna go ahead and make my first grafting video. That way I can go ahead and show you guys exactly what it is that I do to be able to graft my fruit trees, to be able to make more, and to speed up the harvest rate, going from 3 years to be able to get fruit versus the 7 to 10 years. Grown from seed, and you don't know what you're actually going to get because a lot of fruit trees don't grow true to seed. Mangoes being one of them. So I want to go over a couple of things over here that we have that we're going to need in order to go ahead and get this graft started. So first things first, what we're going to use is got a grafting blade. All right, got this one off of Amazon. It is beveled, so it's sharp on one side, flat on the other. Okay, you can see that, and went ahead and just sharpened it up. Always gotta have some pruners to go ahead and cut. First things first, though, you have to disinfect. Little 70% alcohol here usually does the trick. Cotton balls. Just want to give a shout out to all the videos that I've seen on YouTube, hence why I'm making my own, because I have learned a lot from all of you grafters, from Chris from Truly Tropical, Adam from Flying Fox Fruits, Sleepy Lizard down there in I think it's Homestead. Everyone, I've watched so many videos, some that were awesome and others that, listen, I've watched some on YouTube where I went out and did exactly what they did and I was unsuccessful. I've been grafting for about 4 years now. Unsuccessful for the first, and again, I'm just wiping down everything, making sure everything's nice and clean. Unsuccessful for the first probably 50-60 attempts. Like, literally, it's not one of those things that you pick up right away. It seems very simple. Hey, just go ahead and add it on there, but there's a lot of editing that happens in these videos, and I don't have the time to edit. I'm just gonna go ahead and make one and see how it goes. But yeah, everyone has taught me so far so good, and you can take all these tips and tricks and basically make it your own. You can kind of go ahead and hang on, trying to get the tripod a little bit steadier there. But anyways, so first things first, disinfect, make sure everything's nice and clean. Same thing for your blade. And I will disinfect in between every graft. Some will say, hey, if you're going to a different species, go ahead and disinfect then. But for me, I like to go ahead and disinfect in between each one, because you are opening and closing and you're setting the blades down. And you just never know. Alcohol's cheap, so why not? Keep it clean. So next thing is, what do we use to actually seal it? So this is buddy tape. You can find this online. Many different places will carry it. They're not cheap. This roll is probably like 40 bucks. There are some that are a little bit cheaper, anywhere from 25 to 40 bucks, depending on where you go. But this stuff is awesome. It's worth its weight in gold, and people have done it with like electrical tape. I've seen, shout out to David the Good. He's also made a couple videos as well, and he's used flagging tape. I have not used flagging tape, but I saw it the other day in the store and bought myself a roll, so I will be messing around with this later. Allegedly that works. Electrical tape, this stuff is the Amazon stuff. I've lost a lot of these. I've never been successful with them, but it also depends on how you do it. So there are many ways to go ahead and go about this, but it's practice, and you know, it's just, you have to do the repetitions. You got to go ahead and find out the best way to do it for you. So to go ahead and start, let me show you what we're working with over here. Let me bring down this tripod. All right, so here's the rootstock. The rootstock was a, I don't know if you can see that, it was a Kesser, and it actually got frozen back. I don't know if you can see this. Try to bring in a little bit. It got frozen back January 2023. Right over here, if you can see that. Yeah, somewhere in there. Yep, it's frozen back. So now it's growing back from the rootstock, which more than likely is going to be turpentine. Now, I do need to go ahead and get some turpentine in here because they do make great rootstocks. The fruit's not the greatest from what I hear, just sweet, high fiber, which, you know, to me, I'd rather have something that's dessert quality, fiberless, and just amazingly different complex flavors. This one, run of the mill, small, but that's the standard. It is the standard for commercial mango growing, and I figure I need to have some anyways. But I got a bunch of these that went back to turpentine, so don't worry about that. I'll be able to go ahead and recoup some. So this will be the rootstock where I'm going to go ahead and graft onto. And I have a scion right here that I'm going to take from this glen. All right. When you buy these mangoes at a nursery, bring this back just a hair, they will give them to you pretty long. Okay. This is about maybe 2.5 feet tall from the bottom of the pot here. But I like to shape them. I don't like to go ahead and basically sell them this way to where they're just one long width, because now the customer's going to take this home and they're going to let that continue to grow. Sometimes they will just go ahead and keep growing up like a string bean, hence like this right here. This is without being pruned, so you'll see that it's just one solid branch all the way up, and they will continue to grow straight up. I hate that. I want a mango bush and not a mango tree, so I'm constantly pruning and tipping. That way it continues to flush out. So I want a wide, solid base. Okay, so in order to go ahead and do that, what I have to do is trim off. Let me see if I can show you. Drop this down. Here's a top piece. So what you want to do is take this, cut that right off right there, and you can smell it. Very nice, very citrusy. I have yet to have Glen. I'm actually going to have it for the first time here off my other tree, so I am excited about that. But now we have to wrap this in some tape. Others will do this in plastic. I have seen others that, you know, don't add anything to it. I guess it depends on the species that you are grafting. For me, I always add some sort of protection on the top because I don't want the top piece to dry out. So what I'll do is take all of these, you can actually cut there, and all I'm looking for is like a 4 to 5 inch piece. You don't need a huge, you don't need a long piece. To me, that's just more energy that you're losing, because the longer the piece, the more energy the tree has to shoot up into it. And I just trim off all of the leaves, and the important thing is you want to be able to see it pushing. Okay, that could be a flower, but it is growth and it is action on the very top there. Sometimes I've grafted and have been very unsuccessful because of the timing on the scion. So as you can see, it's still it's about maybe 6 inches right there, 5 and some change. And that's all right, because I'm going to shave this part down. Okay, what I'm going to attempt here, or what I'm going to complete, is a cleft graft. This is grafting 101. It's the easiest graft. It is the standard for most backyard grafters, if you will. Commercially, they will go ahead and do the veneers, which that's in a whole nother video. I'll show you on those later. But for now, what I am going to do is I want to attach it right here. Okay, and what they tell you is to match the diameter of the scion to the diameter of the actual rootstock. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be 100% perfect, and I'll explain why. You just have to match up one side of the graft, if you will. But next thing is to go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure it's nice and tight. Give me 1 second and I'll show you exactly how this works. This is perforated, so they all come in little sheets. There is another roll that is not, and I just got that one as well. But this stuff stretches, okay? So you stretch and roll the scion in it. Like that, stretch first, pull, and you're basically wrapping up the whole entire thing on the top there. That way you're not allowing any of the hydration to go ahead and escape, and you're going all the way to the top, pulling and twisting, pulling and twisting. And because I just trimmed up these leaf nodes there are going to be some sharp edges, so don't pull it too tight or else you're going to bust right through that tape there. So take the top, wrap it around, As you can see, this bottom right here I leave open because I am going to shave that down. Primarily I just want from here up, which is about 4 inches. Okay, so I'll go ahead and first I'll decide on where exactly I want this. It's never the perfect height here. So just for s and giggles, this is the Glen, and why I'm choosing this one, I just think that it's an easier spot, easier location. It is a little bit thinner than this back branch. This back one's a little bit taller, and I think I'll just leave that one rock right there. This one just screamed at me, so I figured why not. Right for demonstration purposes. So I'll go ahead and start carving away. You want to make sure that you want to see the scion, see if it's flat, if it has, sometimes there's a curve to it, so you'd have to go ahead and play with where it is it's going to go to make sure that it's leaning the right way. But this one is pretty straight, so it doesn't really matter. It's straightforward. So go ahead, and you're making cuts on both sides of this to make like a sharp point. I'm sure a lot of you guys have whittled sticks as kids, and this is where all that practice comes in. But you want to make that nice and sharp. You see that? They basically say you want to make that 1 cell thick. Okay, what I do is I don't like that piece right there, so I will take that and just snip that off. So as you can see, pretty sharp. Okay, and it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. These little nodes right there, you can take those right off. Okay, so now make sure both sides are nice and even there. Come over here to the rootstock, snip that off and compost that, leave it right back in here. I could, technically speaking, I could totally take this top piece, graft it back onto the tree here, and have turpentine mangoes in 3 years versus 7. So I will speed up the process, and now that it's already gone, I may do that. It's got some action on the top, so it is kind of pushing there. So maybe. So I got some time here. I am open, so I'm waiting for customers as well. So may be interrupted. So for this other part here, let me bring it down. See if we can't get you in. All right. So for this, there is, I cut it flat. Let's see if you can see that. Cut it flat there. Now, you don't want to go dead middle. You want to go off to the side just a hair. And it is optional which way you want to go. Okay. So what I'll do is take that, slowly rock it. And if you go a little bit more, it's okay, because you're going to seal that. Okay, so that's about almost 2 inches there. It's fine, because this one is going to drop right in there. And see how long that is? There's a space right there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a space right there. It's way too long, because now the top of the scion is just above there. I could shave more on the scion, or I could just do this, because it cuts a little bit too much. Take a hair more off. Now test it again, and again, you only need one side of this to work. They're not the same diameters, and that's all right. As long as you align one side of it, it will take. And clefts are fairly easy. They are how I started. Now it's about 20% of what I graft right now, just because the veneers for me work out so much easier. But after a while, you'll get the hang of it, and you'll do it your own way. And this is just one way to do it. This is not every single. This isn't the best way. There's all kinds of different grafts. So let me show you. So here, this side is lined up right there. You probably can't even see that. Yep, that side's lined up. This side has a little bit of a gap, but that's fine. So now we'll seal it. Sorry about that. I'm gonna seal that one now with some more buddy tape. But at this moment, you could use some flagging tape. You could use some electrical tape. You can use whatever other tape you want. But this stuff It's awesome. I've been using it, tried and true. This is my go-to, but again, a little bit more money. To me, it's like, hey, it's worth it. But now, you have to make this tight. So you pull and spin around, constantly keeping the tension on there. Wrap it up. And this is the part that you can go through a lot of this stuff because sometimes it folds in, but that's all right. You can go ahead and just keep going around and add in another piece to cover it up. What you're trying to do is keep all of the hydration in. Once this thing dries up, you ruin the whole entire graft. So idea is to constantly make sure that there's nothing peeking out. Later on, if something like this breaks along the top, you can come over with another piece and just kind of put it on there. Some we'll use bags, plastic bags over the top with like a rubber band on the bottom. That stuff works too. I've never used it. Actually, I have. When I first started, I was using those newspaper bags. And then I was doing it with the wrong tape and the wrong technique. Never really worked. Will I come back to it? Maybe. But this stuff works good. And there's no sun today, so there's no real need. See, like that piece there is exposed. I'll add one more piece there, cover that up. But you want all this nice and tight and waterproof, basically, because the sprinklers do come on here. There's a sprinkler head right in there, and it will spray that, and you don't want anything clogging it. So pull and stretch. And I've grafted a couple hundred trees so far. I would say my success rate is anywhere from 75% and up. Sometimes you can hack Mother Nature very easily. Other times, you know, you just have to go back and do it again. Some species are easier to graft, others are a little bit tougher, and you'll have to go ahead and perfect it. But if you got time and you're really willing to do this, then why not? Okay, so now what I'll do is to go ahead and make sure that that's super tight. Some nurseries, they'll take a rubber band, tie it around there. That's an industry standard, but for me, I like to use zip ties. Okay, and these are small, you know, little tiny zip ties, and you don't need much. You don't need a bunch of them. I have used clothespins in the past, but these guys are fairly cheap for $1,000. I'd rather pick them up and use these guys. You don't even need that many. You just want it to be able to be snug. And I'm not like pulling on it super tight, but just want it to where they're not going to move in case something hits it. I have seen them where they will open up, trim off the ends. And because this is in a sunny location, later on what I'll do is take some aluminum foil and wrap this whole thing. That way the sun doesn't hit it. That, or you could, I've seen other videos, shout out to Dr. Richard Campbell, his videos are awesome too, where he went ahead and he put like branches and he ties up different stuff, you know, to go ahead and shade out the graft. I for the most part like to graft like in a shaded location, or I would pick another branch. If this was for a customer, I would pick a branch that's in a shady area, but foil works just as fine. Put that over the top and you wait. After 3 months, you'll start seeing some growth coming out of the top, maybe even 2. You know, Mother Nature will surprise you. And then from there, you go ahead and let that, you know, grow out the top and prune it from there. So that is the cleft graft. It is super easy. It's nice, but you lose the energy from the top. You know what, we're here and I have everything set up. Let me show you a quick veneer graft, just because I have this piece here and I don't want to waste it. So I'll do the same thing. I was hoping I'll do this a little bit faster, just I've already explained everything. And again, timing is everything. I don't know if these are going to take right now because they are pushing growth, which is what you want. Okay, let's see if you can see that. an old phone. I refuse to to upgrade to 5G. So until I have to, I ain't doing nothing. So trim that off. And that's about the piece that you want. So for the veneer, it is basically what I'll be doing is attaching this. I could even attach it there. I like to go pretty low, but for this, just for argument's sake, you know, and just for video purposes, I will be attaching it here. Okay, that way you can see it. So what I'll do is wrap it again. Always important, you gotta wrap the scion here. Okay. So you always leave a little bit there. Let me back up just a hair. Leave a little bit, pull and twist. And you are just wrapping this guy up, making sure there's nothing that's going to escape there. Pull and twist. I was hoping that the sun would have been out a little bit better, so the light would have been a little bit more on the grafts here, but it's all right. We're going to make it happen. So that's ready to go. We'll go ahead and shave that one down. Now for the veneer, you're not going to shave both sides. Oh, what did I say? It is time to disinfect again. Just in case, same species, same tree, I get it. Blah, blah. But to me, it's always better to go ahead and just add a little bit. Disinfect. Careful not to cut yourself. Okay, so give that a second to air dry. So for this one, I am going to, it has a little bit of a bend and a flat spot right there that I'm going to go ahead and utilize. So for this one, it's going to be a longer cut. Okay, longer cut, but sharp, right? And you want to do this in the least amount of cuts as possible. Okay, so you cut there, and now on the back side, you just do a short cut, something like that. As you can see, it's pretty sharp. Okay, long side, short side. Okay, looks pretty good, but I'll just take a little bit. I'll explain exactly why. So, pretty sharp. Now again, it doesn't have to be super paper thin, but you want to get it as thin as possible here and then slowly expand it up. Okay, move away the buddy tape from the area there. Okay, just like that. Now let me bring you down. Let's see if you can see this real quick. Yep, let's see. So set this one down here. This is why this is important. This is why this flat side is important, because I have used a box cutter in the past, and I've cut the rootstock straight in half trying to go into it. This will keep the cut on one side, and you can actually do it a couple times, but slowly cut into it, going in a little bit. If you feel like you're going too deep, you can kind of wiggle it a little bit, and that's all right. Okay, then you make a little flap. Okay, you see this? Let me see if I can get you in there. You make a flap like that. Okay. Okay, and let's see, where are we at? Yep. I will cut a piece out. Okay, because what we're trying to do is fit this in there, just like this, to where one side of the cambium is going to touch. Okay, again, same rules with the cleft as the veneer. Push that one down, and that little flap is making contact on the small side. So the most important thing, let me take this off for 1 second. I know y'all gonna complain about how this phone's shaking. I'm kidding. Let's see, right here, there is no space in between there. That's the important part. See how you don't see any air or no light right behind it? Because it's perfectly flat right in there. Just on the top, but once you squeeze that in, you get nothing there, okay? So, that's what you're looking for. Now, the benefits of doing a veneer is that you are utilizing the rest of the tree. You're getting the strength from the leaves. You're still getting the sun to go ahead and allow this tree to grow still. And you're not having to totally cut it like the cleft. Clefts are fine and it will bounce back, but to me, you lose a lot of energy from the tree. I like to go ahead and piggyback off of the tree still because you're getting so much more energy out of it. So now, time to wrap. Same deal. And after a while, you get pretty good and you can go a little bit faster. But for this type of stuff, I'd rather take my time and explain it to y'all. I'm only making a few of these. But I hate to go ahead and show you how the sausage is made, but you know, I figured I learned for free. I got to give it back for free. So help the community, go ahead and do this. And you can use this technique for not just fruit trees. You can use this for any tree. You could even do this on tomatoes. You know, people graft all kinds of stuff. So it depends on what you want to graft. Techniques are still the same. So pull, spin around. Now this one has a few more steps in it, but to me, I get more success out of it. I did over 100 for a customer this past year, and he told me, he's like, listen, the clefts are fine, you know, the job looks good. He goes, but I will tell you that you were way more successful on the veneers than the clefts. And I was like, well, if that's the case, you know, and I kept going back periodically to go check on them, I noticed that my veneers were looking so much better. So I was like, well, if that's the case, then why stop? Let's do the one that works. So you do it like that. Now, if I left it like that, the water's gonna get in between the two pieces there, okay? Let me show you again. So, let's see where we're at. Drop it down. Got weeds everywhere. So, if I were to leave this, okay, you're gonna see that gap in there. Well, when it rains, all that water is gonna get in there. So you have to take a piece of the tape and improvise. Take another piece of tape, and you're gonna have to, what I do, and I think I've learned this from Adam, Flying Fox Fruits, shout out, take it and you fold it in half, and you're gonna slide this in between the two, okay? Like that, basically. You slide it in between. This is some pro stuff, all right? Don't tell anybody. So, take it and you open it. I like to make it longer on one side than the other, okay? I don't know if you can see that. Can't zoom. All right, thanks, phone. So, can't really tell, but I am gonna open this side and wrap around it. Pull and wrap around. And pull this side. And you're opening up. Opening it up. See the tape? Let me get you in a little bit closer here. Alright, so see this? I'm opening it up and I'm splitting it and pulling it around. That way the water will not get inside of there. Once the water gets in, your graft is done. So, and this stuff sticks to itself, so once you pull it, you spin it around and it will hold. I'm gonna do one more just because that piece broke, and that way I can show you. But again, you would fold in half, put it behind it, short side, you open it, try to keep it a little bit tight in there, open, pull, Don't let it fall out of there, okay? And pull around. You don't want any water getting in here. Even in pots, whenever I have the nurse, or whenever I graft in the pots and I have to water with the hose, because I hand water a lot of this stuff for the nursery side, I will always do this, because when you hand water, yeah, sometimes you'll come over the top and the water, I've noticed, will sit down in there. So when I take off this tape, it is saturated with water. Hence why you lose a lot of your grafts. So that's the veneer. Now, last thing, well, almost last. 1 second. Awesome zip tie. And you want to get down to the very bottom where you made that little flap, okay? And you can do it off center, so whenever you cut off. But that little piece is where I went ahead and kind of opened it up, okay? Just a little bit of pressure, not crazy, all right? I'm not trying to strangle the tree. Go one there, one just above that, just to put some pressure on there. Okay, we'll snip off the extra, and in order for that thing to be official, all right, what you do is, see if you can see that, trim it. That way, oh, here comes the sun. That way you go ahead and you're encouraging the tree to go ahead and start pushing out some more growth. So it'll go ahead and shoot out from the scion as well. You could come over and cut it lower, but to me, I like to leave as much as possible. That's enough. Once you cut, the gibberellin will go ahead and activate. It's actually airborne too. Gibberellin's a growth hormone. And it will basically tell the tree to go ahead and start growing, that hey, something's snacking on us, or the wind broke a branch off and we got to get to work. So cut off the top, and that's it. So you've seen the cleft, you've seen the veneer. I'll charge you later, all right? But before we get out of here, let me show you this quick upgrade, because yesterday was Valentine's Day, and what kind of day is Valentine's Day without a love tunnel? I went ahead and upgraded the passion fruit tunnel, added another cattle panel, if you will, or concrete remesh, and went ahead and made it a little bit bigger. We still got some fruit hanging on there, but I figured it was time to go ahead and stretch it out some more. This thing is a workhorse. We still got some fruit holding, and this year should be an awesome year. It's a very sweet fruit, and if you're not growing it and you're able to, do it. I mean, it is a monster. It will grow 25 feet a year, but the fruit is so good. I mean, let me see if you can see that. Yeah, right there, got one hanging there. But yep, still upgrading. I am adding more trees every day and growing. Keep growing together in every way possible in your life, spiritually, physically, and mentally. Keep going, y'all. Peace and love y'all.